Last year, as we started to emerge from the COVID-19 pandemic, I made a video about the best bridge camera to purchase in 2022. In that video, I explained what a bridge camera is, and I also did an analysis of the top 8 bridge cameras on the market. If you haven't watched that video, click on the link in the description below or at the end of this video. When I did the video last year, the Nikon P950 ended up being the winner, and so I went ahead and purchased one, which was an upgrade to my previous Nikon bridge camera, a P500 which I had purchased back in 2011. Since then, I've released and I continue to release instructional videos on how to use the features and accessories of the P950. A year later, nothing has changed. Nikon continues to dominate this space with the P950 and P1000. But why? Stay tuned, we're going to talk about that. This is my Nikon P950. It's a what we call a bridge camera. It's between a point and shoot and a professional 35mm camera. Now let's take a look at that zoom. I'm zooming in on that cruise ship over there. What do you think about that? Yeah. Right now, a year ago I did some research. I made a video on YouTube and I wanted to do a follow-up video, and unfortunately no one seems to be competing with Nikon for a camera like this. I think this is so practical. If you're heading out on vacation, instead of getting an expensive professional camera where you have to change the lens, this is all built in. Compact, it's not very heavy at all, and it has a hot shoe for a flash. I've taken pictures of the moon.
Yeah, I have a Nikon. It's a little bit, I think it's a step up. But
okay.
yeah.
But this is perfect, especially for an older person who doesn't want to carry a heavy camera. You're doing bird watching, whatever. And I just find it amazing that within that $800 to $1,400 range, no other manufacturer is competing with Nikon. And I've been, talking to different persons, and this is exactly the camera that a lot of people would want. With this screen, I can flip this around. So if I'm doing a YouTube or I'm doing a video of something and reporting on something somewhere, I don't need anyone else. I have my remote and I have this, job done.
Yeah, no, they're great.
I have my microphones here. I can always plug that in, keep one for myself, for the person I'm interviewing. So glad to hear that you're using a Nikon.
I was gonna say, Nikon's done a great job.
Yeah. Okay, have a good day. So one of the things that really surprises me, that I really like about this camera, is the zoom. The ability to focus on an object that's so far behind me, and then I can just change that perspective. It's amazing what this camera is able to do. And it's just so surprising that no other camera company right now is competing with Nikon, because with the P950, Nikon is practically gobbling up this market. Kodak, which had to file for bankruptcy a few years ago, Kodak doesn't compete in the 35mm professional camera space. They make absolutely no cameras for professionals with lenses that can be interchanged. So they make point-and-shoot cameras, consumer-grade point-and-shoot cameras. So if that's the situation, then shouldn't they be making their bridge cameras the best there is? A few weeks ago, Nikon released the Z8 mirrorless DSLR camera. This camera retails for roughly $4,000 and is basically a Z9 in a smaller body. A Z9 retails for roughly $5,500 and is a very popular camera among professional photographers. However, not all the features of the Z9 are absolutely necessary or desired by some photographers. So, Nikon removed those extra features and made a smaller and less expensive professional camera that still has the most important features of the Z9. I imagine that this was done to maintain their dominance over other brands like Sony and Canon, who had released cameras that fitted in nicely in the void between the Z7 and the Z9. So at this point, you're probably asking yourself, why is he talking about professional DSLR cameras? Isn't this video about bridge cameras? That is correct. This video is about bridge cameras, but I mentioned the Z series of DSLR cameras to bring home a specific point. Competition sparks innovation. Nikon continues to dominate the bridge camera market because they have no real competition. As you can see here, they only make 5 bridge cameras, but those 5 cameras are carefully designed to dominate a specific niche market. Kodak, on the other hand, currently lists 9 different bridge cameras on its website, and they're all cheaper than the competing Nikon cameras. But they lack the features and the performance to pose any real threat to Nikon's lineup. In fact, most of their cameras have only 1 or 2 reviews. Even if we were to compare the Sony RX10, which has features that the P950 and P1000 do not have, the cost is $1,700 for a bridge camera. That's crazy. For that same money, I can buy a Nikon Z50 full-frame DSLR camera with the equivalent lens as a Sony RX10 and get much superior performance. So right now, if any of these manufacturers want to compete with Nikon in the bridge camera space, they need to make a camera that outperforms the P950 and costs about the same. Of course, the more additional features they have, the more they can charge. Now, let me just back up my argument with some data here. Let's take the Panasonic Lumix FZ2500 camera as an example. This camera was released 4 years before the P950 and has a 1-inch sensor. But in spite of that, the P950 sells about 3 times more than the FZ2500. Why? Well, for one, the P950 has much better zoom. And if you think that's not important, check out these pictures. These pictures were possible because the P950's 83x zoom allowed me to get up close and personal with the subjects, while at the same time not scaring them away. In some situations, it's not even physically possible or safe to get close to your subject, and that's when the zoom comes in handy. Besides, button placement and accessories are also other factors that make the P950 a superior camera. As you watch the how-to videos about the P950 on my channel, ask yourself, can the other cameras do that and also achieve an 83x zoom? P950 is a very compact and versatile solution for people who want the zoom capabilities and performance of a DSLR with the size and operational simplicity of a point-and-shoot camera. As more and more persons retire and spend their time traveling or taking the grandkids to the park, etc., they need a capable camera that is better than their cell phone, but not as expensive, bulky, and difficult to operate as a full-blown DSLR camera. Influencers and other persons on social media also need a compact, versatile, capable camera that can handle a multitude of situations. And then there are persons like myself that we're not professional photographers, but we have a lot of experience taking pictures, and we just need a versatile camera that we can take around easily, a camera that can adapt to multiple situations. Right now, the Nikon Coolpix P950 is the only camera that's checking all those boxes.